This past year, J.K. Rowling was asked her favorite Joni Mitchell album and song from that album. Her response on X was her favorite album by Joni Mitchell is Hejira, and her favorite song from that album is Song for Sharon. The fifth book of the Strike series, Troubled Blood, came out in 2020, and heavily references the songs of Joni Mitchell in particular. Her most successful album, Court and Spark, which was originally released in 1974, the same year of Margot Bamborough's disappearance. J.K. Rowling appeared on the BBC program Tracks of My Years and had this to say about Joni Mitchell inspiring her latest book. Before I began writing Troubled Blood, I looked up all the albums that came out in 1974 because the whodunit concerns a woman who vanished in 1974, and I wanted to peg her disappearance to an album that she would have loved, and I saw that Court and Spark had come out then, and I thought that's perfect for this character. So then I began listening to it and listening to it and listening to it, and then I loved it so much, I now literally own everything that Joni Mitchell has ever brought out, and I can now honestly call myself a mad Joni Mitchell fan. It was an odd way to discover all her other work, but I think she's just untouchable, and as a lyricist, I think there's no one better. My husband last Christmas bought me a book of all her lyrics, and it can be read like fine poetry. She's absolutely extraordinary. Court and Spark is now one of my very favorite albums. It is during her interview with Margot Bamborough's friend Una that Robin becomes interested in Joni Mitchell. Una had met Margot 2 weeks before her disappearance and had a line from the song Same Situation from the album Court and Spark stuck in her head. The lyrics were, "Caught in my struggle for higher achievements and my search for love that don't seem to cease." Una had told Robin that was Margot's religion, Joni Mitchell. After her meeting with Una, Robin begins to listen to Court and Spark on her iPod in order to try and get to know the person, Margot, better, who had been missing from the same year the album came out. In Chapter 30 of Troubled Blood, over Christmas in Masham, Robin lay in the dark listening to Court and Spark. In the darkness, re-listening, she began to hear melodies among the suspended chords, and as she stopped comparing the music to anything she would usually have listened to, she realized that the images she had found alienating in their strangeness were confessions of inadequacy and replacement, of the difficulty of merging two lives, of waiting for the soulmate who never arrived, of craving both freedom and love. What if we follow Robin's lead in the following chapter, Troubled Blood, Chapter 31, and in the darkness really listening, we pay attention to J.K. Rowling's favorite album, Hejira, and her favorite song from that album, Song for Sharon. This brings us to Aunt Joan. Joan's last full conversation with Strike happens in the following chapter from Robin listening intently to Joni Mitchell. Rowling is literally calling our attention to first Joni Mitchell and subsequently Aunt Joan. At the end of Chapter 31, Joan's way of speaking changes completely. For so long, Joan demanded a kind of falseness from all around her, a rose-tinted view of everything, and now at last. She offered simple honesty and plain speaking, and he wished more than anything that he could be simply nodding along to news of some neighborhood scandal. Then later on in the conversation, Joan tells Strike she thinks he should go to his father's party. She says, "I know what went on. He behaved very badly, but he's still your father." Strike immediately replies, "No, he isn't. Ted's my dad." Strike had never said it out loud before. Tears filled Joan's eyes. And now we get to the part that relates to J.K. Rowling's favorite song, Song for Sharon. Joan says, "He'd love to hear you say that. Funny, isn't it? Years ago, years and years, I was just a girl, and I went to see a proper gypsy fortune teller. They used to camp up the road. I thought she'd tell me lots of nice things. You expect them to, don't you? You've paid your money. Do you know what she said? You'll never have children." Just like that, straight out. The lyric from Joni's song from Sharon is, "I can keep my cool at poker, but I'm a fool when love's at stake, because I can't conceal emotion, what I'm feelings. Always written on my face. There's a gypsy down on Bleecker Street. I went in to see her as a kind of joke, and she lit a candle for my love luck, and $18 went up in smoke." Here, the rose-tinted kind of falseness falls away when Joan is speaking to Strike. She can no longer conceal emotion. She had tried with diminishing success through the years, not to disparage Strike's mother in front of the children. And when she can conceal her emotion no longer, Joan reveals the gypsy fortune teller she saw as a young girl. Aunt Joan thought of it like she would hear nice things, something fun like a joke. She paid her money, her $18. As a young girl, she wanted to hear about her love, perhaps even to Uncle Ted, about what her love life would turn into, perhaps having a family with him. Instead, her meeting with the gypsy fortune teller sent it all up in smoke. A fun joke turned into being told you'll never have children. Joni's song for Sharon was written for her childhood friend, Sharon Bell. In the song, she is comparing her own life and how it has turned out to that of her childhood friend, Sharon. Brilliantly, Song for Sharon is also being used to draw a comparison between Aunt Joni taking the place of Joni and Leda's strike taking the place of Sharon. For example, in Cuckoo's Calling, we hear that according to Aunt Joan, Leda's sole motivation in marrying Strike Sr., who, according to Aunt Joan, had arrived in St. Mawes with the fair, had been a new dress and a change of name. This recalls the first verse of song lyrics, and I saw the long white dress of love on a storefront mannequin, big boat chuggin', back with a belly full of cars, all for something lacy. Some girl's going to see that dress and crave that day like crazy. In the next verse, we get Shine Your Light on Me, Miss Liberty, because as soon as this ferry boat docks, I'm headed to the church to play bingo. Here we once again get the comparison of Leda, Miss Liberty, chasing the freedom of rock and roll lifestyle versus Aunt Joan arriving on the ferry to St. Mawes to attend church and play games with friends, something we know she liked to do. Later on in Song for Sharon, we get the lyrics Doris says have children. Mama and Betsy say find yourself a charity, as she points to at the end of chapter 31. She is infertile and never expected to have children, but Strike implies that she took on the role of mother, almost an act of charity, coming to rescue Lucy and Strike from bad situations with their mother and her itinerant lifestyle. To quote lyrics from Song for Sharon, Aunt Joan is metaphorically wearing Mama's nylons underneath my cowgirl jeans, wearing the costume of mother to Lucy and Strike. Near the end of the song, we reach the lyrics and the power of reason and the flowers of deep feeling seem to serve me, only, to deceive me, which also recalls Strike's analysis of Aunt Joan having a rose-tinted view of everything, a kind of falseness, and her ability to judge others' funerals by the flowers they receive. The song ends with the lyrics, Sharon, you've got a husband, and a family and a farm. I've got the apple of temptation and a diamond snake around my arm, but you still have your music, and I've still got my eyes on the land and the sky. You sing for your friends and your family. I'll walk green pastures by and by. We have Aunt Joan and Leda Strike looking back at life. Leda has her new husband, Whitaker. She has had her time at Norfolk Farm and has spent time traveling with Lucy and Corm. She's had her life in music. It's Aunt Joan that has the transgressive apple of temptation to be mother and a diamond snake around her arm. Like Jesus in Psalm 23, she chooses to walk green pastures, living the church-going holy life. But what to make of the diamond snake around her arm? Where have we seen a diamond snake in J.K. Rowling's writings? In Harry Potter, Nagini, Voldemort's snake, is known for a diamond-patterned tail. Aunt Joan is a Nancaro with a diamond snake around her arm?